Math has really bad PR. I can't explain to my kid why they're learning or why it's important. What I really want to say is just get through this. You're going to use a calculator for the rest of your life.
At some point, we dim their light. And I think teachers and parents, we have the power to ignite it or dim it. We grind them for the sake of what? I don't know. It should be joyful.
Okay, guys, you know I'm all about clickbait and being very dramatic about literally everything, but I am not joking when I say that today's episode might be the most controversial one we've ever shared. Why, you ask? Well, because I interviewed two moms who have 7 kids between them and give 0 fucks about making it 100% clear that in spite of all the numbers I just threw at you, they hate math. Catherine Belknap and Natalie Telfer, aka Cat and Nat, are 2 powerhouse momfluencers that have created an entire mompire dishing real talk about raising kids in the modern world. They're best-selling authors and podcasters, and they do not hold back. And this interview was no different. On Math Therapy, we're usually talking about what's happening in the classroom, but I wanted to talk to Cat and Nat about the parent perspective. Because when it comes to math, we're finding that this generation is growing up with the same bad relationship with math as their parents had, and it doesn't have to be that way. Now, guys, when I say this convo will be controversial, I really mean it. I can already sense the steam ready to blow the AirPods out of your ears, but I truly believe you need to hear it, and here's why. If you're a parent, this episode will validate you. If you think you're a horrible person for thinking that school math sucks and that the way we teach it is bullshit, and you also feel helpless when it comes to helping your kid, Cat and Nat will make it very clear that you're not alone. If you're an educator, this episode might sting. It certainly did for me. But Cat and Nat remind us that students are bringing their entire lives into math class, and parents are treading water trying to just keep these little humans alive and out of trouble. And if parents are still struggling to understand why we need to learn math, how are they supposed to justify it to their kids? And if you're none of the above or all of the above, and you've struggled with math at any stage in life, this conversation will hopefully put a lot of what you've been feeling into words. I'll be honest, it was really hard to listen back to this interview. I could feel the very raw, real stress and anxiety that Cat and Nat deal with every day. And I get it. When you're worried that your kid's gonna get pregnant behind the Circle K, you are not worried about trigonometry. Thank you, by the way, Cat, for painting that picture for us. But guys, I firmly believe that just because the math education system is broken doesn't mean we give up on it. We need our kids to develop numeracy and critical thinking skills. And I know we can teach in better ways so we can all stop losing our minds. And conversations like these ones are a big part of the solution. So thank you for listening. I want to know what it brings up for you, and I encourage you to share it with a parent or teacher in your life that needs to hear it too, because hard conversations are often the catalyst for change. I want to start by acknowledging, because I think we may have forgotten because now, we know each other-ish, that when we first met, it was because you two were hosting Breakfast Television. And you admitted without hesitation that you hated math. And I loved it. I loved how real it was, because you two represent so many parents out there, right? Parents who are raising children who did not have a positive math experience. And you're kind of carrying that baggage and trying to manage the two. And this is the first time I've actually had parents on the podcast. And I think it's so important because so much of my audience is teachers. And one of our biggest questions as teachers is, but what about the parents? How do we help the parents? And I don't think any of us fucking know. So you two are the experts, you're the moms, and we're going to obviously start with your math trauma. But before we do, I just want to say thanks for being here so much.
Oh, Vanessa, we love you. We would be here for you anytime.
So should we start with I kind of want to know where your math trauma began for both of you. Do either of you have a specific memory or just experience with math? Or do you want to just tell us a bit? Because I'm just coming on here being you hate math, and I'm sure I'm simplifying it.
Is it possible to not like it? Can you just not like it?
Yes.
I don't like caviar.
Yep.
And I don't like cilantro, and I don't like math.
Okay. Yeah.
I think people have different brains, and I really tell my kids this, and I think that you can't be good at everything, and school expects you to be good at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've taken out the word hate in our house, and we put in not a lot in common at the moment with.
Oh.
So I don't have anything in common with math. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it sounds. I don't like the wording. I don't like stupid puzzles that tell you to look backwards, step upside down, and then figure out the math problem without just saying 3 + 3 is 9. Johnny didn't go to the store and do 3 twirls. Like, just tell me what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why are you trying to complicate me? Don't do that. She's actually really naturally good with numbers and common sense numbers and like banking and stuff. But to me, it just makes me want to barf.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I didn't really think too much about math up till like grade 5, let's say. And then I applied to get into some private schools and I didn't get in. And then so during grade 6, my mom put me in math and English tutor twice a week to prepare me for the test to get in to try out again for grade 7. And during that time, because I was not only learning what I was learning in school, but I was learning like advanced, it was the first time that I was in class and my teacher would be like introducing something and I already had heard it before.
Oh.
And I felt so smart for like the first time because I remember my teacher saying, how do you know that? And I don't know why my mom was like, just don't tell anyone you're in tutor. Don't tell anyone you're trying out for the schools. Just that if you don't make it, it's not going to be. So I go, oh, my older brother taught me. But I had done it the night before and I was like, felt so magical that I actually knew what they were talking about. Fast forward, get into the school, go to the private school, and I start falling behind just because, you know, at this point I'm in grade 9 and I just don't care, not doing my homework. But in this private school, if you're not doing well, the teacher was really like, I think you're capable and I think you've fallen behind. Called in my mom. We had a meeting. We made a plan. And I ended up being tutored, but the teacher also gave me a peer tutor. And for that moment, when I had her as my peer tutor and my teacher and people literally babysitting me for a very short period of time, I understood math and I got it.
Okay.
Leave the private school, go to the public school, don't understand anything the teacher's ever saying ever again for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I think kids learn math differently. I don't think it's a universal way of teaching. And I think that that's where we have roadblocks is we were taught differently than our kids are learning right now. So we actually can't help them because it's not correct the way they're learning. And we go to help them and like, that's not how we do it. And you're like, well, okay, so it's changed. So we can't help. And then they'll go to a math tutor and they won't do well necessarily because that math tutor, it's not absorbing the way they're learning. It's the one subject that's cumulative. Each chapter is cumulative. And I think that it's a really big disservice because it's black and white. And so if you forget to add a 1 or not show your work properly, because one son's school taught him mental math and the next school is like, you need to show every step or you're going to lose marks.
That's frustrating.
There's no consistency. And so why do we get frustrated with math? Because people want to overcomplicate it rather than make it simple.
Or someone's simplifying it and then someone's making it more complicated and they're doing it differently. And then the kids sort of just feel really overwhelmed. We can get to the kids. I know you were asking about our trauma, but
we also have calculators. We have calculators.
Yeah.
So if we have a calculator, tell a kid, we're teaching you this for this reason for your brain. Don't just say they don't understand why they're doing it because they have access to technology everywhere. So if I can go on a computer and do it, and when I get older, every accountant is using AI. Why are we not teaching them how to use these things with their brains and teaching them more?
That actually is a question that I'd like to ask you is why do they take math?
Oh my God. This is so interesting because obviously, I, as a teacher, I'm listening to this. I'm like, so many things are happening. Like, my heart's breaking. I'm like, oh, fuck, she just doesn't have anything in common math. Then I'm listening to half of this stuff and being like, no, like, that's not okay. And then I'm like, oh, but they don't understand. And I actually think this is going to be so triggering for the people who are listening right now, who are teachers who are like, and I actually think that's why this conversation exactly needs to fucking happen right now, because this is a real thing. Everything you're saying, I want you to feel validated for. I'm just sitting here being like, yep, of course, that makes sense. That would feel shitty. And I actually think, I bet you teachers have their backs up a little bit right now. I know I did at some of the comments being like, well, hold on. But no, this is a real experience of students and parents. And we are here to serve students. That's literally the job of a teacher, is here to help a student build a healthy relationship with math. And if these are the things that students and parents are feeling, we need to acknowledge that. So let me actually just answer that question. When you say, why do students take math? I think most teachers can agree probably with the fact that like, we're all like, because I'm assuming, and tell me if I'm wrong, that part of your question is like, why are they learning half of this shit?
you know, when they say like you learn cursive writing because it helps develop part of the brain. So I assume up to that, but like, let's say, why do they have to take grade 10 math? And also because I feel like everyone that I know, including a lot of parents who are trying to help with grade 10 in math, like they don't know it, they don't remember it, they don't use it. So why do they have to take it?
Okay, so the first thing I would say that I think is really important for parents to know is it's actually not your job to teach math. And I know that sounds really hard, like Kat, when you're saying like, we can't even help our kids with math because it's being taught in a different way. Of course, as a parent, you want to help your kid. So like, I hate that. And I get why, because often parents are like, well, I've got to teach the math to my kid because my kid's not fucking learning it. But I think we should separate, like, teachers shouldn't be teaching math in a way that the parents understand just so the parents can help, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
And so I say that to be like, because I know sometimes it's like, well, this new math, the idea hopefully is that a lot of our new strategies are going to be more helpful in the real world. So for example, like, why are students taking math up to a certain grade level? A lot of what should be taught in math is critical thinking, the ability to think through problems and find solutions. However, you're totally right. Half of the math we see is like, Johnny went and bought 40 watermelons, fill out this formula. There's no thinking in that. All we're wanting kids to do is to take a number, plug it into some shit they've memorized and spit it out. And that's not cool. They don't need that skill. I think what hopefully will bring hope is that in the math education community, we're trying to move away from all of that. We're trying to get away from like memorizing and rote learning and getting into like, let's really focus on kids' thinking skills and processing and understanding numbers and quantities and numeracy. So when they like go into the real world and are given some bunk statistic, they can be like, that sounds like bullshit, you know, like, but to be fair, and you know this because I tutor so many kids, we haven't caught up to that. And I'm sure you're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of shit math and you're like, why are they doing this? The only other thing I'll say is when we're like, well, why do they have to take math up to, let's say, grade 10 or something? The truth is, again, let's not focus on how fucked the curriculum in schools are. But the fact is that many university programs require math as a prereq.
Right.
Fine.
Right. It's like not counting things out, like keeping you in the game until like long enough, whether your brain might want to know what you want to go into.
Yes. And I will say I've personally seen so many students that have been written off, like let's say in grade 7. And, you know, we used to be able to stream them in grade 9, like, oh, fuck it, just take the workplace math. And I've worked with them and they've seen that, oh my God, I actually like math and I'm good at it. And have ended up like going to med school or whatever. And I hate the idea of being like, let's write a kid off when they're like 10 or 11. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's give them the option. But also to your point, if you hate it and your life sucks and you don't understand it, to just keep being like, well, you got to do this till grade 10 and we're not going to support or help, then there's this whole additional anxiety. So I think, anyways, hopefully that answers the why, but are we doing it the right way? No, in many ways. Now, I kind of want to, like Kat, you said at the beginning, I loved it, right? Because you're like, well, I just have nothing in common with it. And you listed some things that were math. Right? Like you were like twirling around and doing this kind of thing. And we have calculators. So why this and that? And that broke my heart a bit, only not because I'm like, you can totally not like caviar or not like math. I don't mind that. It pisses me off because I'm like, so many of those things are not like what I would even call math. Like, it's almost like kind of to Nat's question of like, what are we teaching? Like, you're right. We have calculators. So if we were literally saying to kids, hey, guess what? We're just going to do mental math forever and ever, even though you have this tool, that seems kind of pointless, right? But like, ideally, like I'm kind of thinking about all the things that are math that we never share with kids, or Kat, that you never like identified as math, and just sort of, I don't know.
That's real world though, right? Like I think where you're seeing breakdowns from parents is their kids are frustrated. Time is small. We don't have a lot of time. When they come home with a worksheet of 100 questions and it's like, you know, they have to write like the multiplication 100 times or 100 different ways or whatever it is, you see their frustration, it becomes your frustration. So I really think that if they struggle in math, it becomes a contentious point, because if you can't support them, then you have to go elsewhere. But the kids have no time anymore. Like there is no more time. And they're in school from, 8:30 to 3:30 or 4, and then they're coming home, you're jamming a dinner in their throats, trying to get them to do something else they might like, and then going back to the books to possibly do more schoolwork when their children, So I think it's really not maybe about the subject, because this might be someone else's plight in English, or this might be someone else's plight in French. I think it's more, where do your kids have pain points? And the frustration often is math, and then you have parents who are going to do Russian math on the weekends from kindergarten. And it is actually called that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not.
Yeah, it's a Russian school of math. That's actually a thing.
It's a Russian school of math, or, Spirit of Math, but they're already good in math. So now you have kids who are so far ahead in math. Like, it's like the teachers can't win because no one's subscribing to a program that supports everybody. You have kids that are off the chart, and then you have kids who are just not naturally inclined to math. So it's like this thing.
And then some teachers, it's like, your kid kind of connects with them. When the teacher speaks, they can hear them. But not every kid is going to feel the same way about the way a teacher teaches. So I find it's math, because it seems probably not to you, but it feels really like abstract when you see all these letters and numbers all in the thing in brackets, and none of it looks like anything that is a part of the real world. I feel like kids would need to be in small groups to learn based on their learning style, but there's not enough
resources.
That's not enough resources.
And my daughter did a project, like she defined rent, see how much it costs, like go grocery shopping, get a bill. That wasn't in math class. That
What?
should have been in.
Where was it?
In one of the grade 9,
That is math.
but that's not what math does.
Yeah.
So if they had put real world, okay, so let's budget this, let's balance this budget sheet.
Yeah.
Let's figure out taxes. How do you do your taxes? That's math.
Mm-hmm.
This is what we're learning is abstract. If you gave them a formula, like eventually you'll plug this into Google Sheets in order to get your balance for your household and your taxes. Well, great. But nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
We're hiring accountants.
100%. I remember reading this book. It was such an amazing book. And he was like, imagine you'd never heard a song in your life. Like, you'd never heard a song in your life. So you go to this thing called music class, and they're like, okay, so what you're going to do is take this paper with lines and you're going to draw these black dots. Like, don't worry, you'll understand why later, but just memorize where everything goes. Like, you'd hate music. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, and that's the problem with math is we're always like, you'll understand one day. Whereas if we could actually show them, like math is actually very cool. There's all this cool shit, but like you can't access that until you like go to university in many cases. And by then you're fucked.
Teach them their algorithm numbers and like how much what's an ROI? What's your return on investment? Teach them things of their language that they were, like someone should make a lesson up with 6-7 in it, or like something where it's all of these things that they're saying that they can relate to, but we're just expecting them to level up to a place where it's not interesting. No one's making it interesting. So maybe math is very interesting. Yeah, it is, because we do use it every day, but they don't use what they're learning at all. And we don't use what they're learning at all.
Yeah. Oh my God. So can I ask, would you identify as being like anxious around math, or are you just like, no, we just don't like it?
I would say I don't feel anxious, or it's just that I don't like it. I just feel like it is so out of my league of the way that I think and the way that I understand. And I really didn't gain any knowledge. Somehow I got through high school, but I didn't take anything from math.
Mm-hmm. It feels so crazy to say the words. You know how there are always those things like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? And like, it's meant to make you feel stupid for being like, I can't answer this grade 4 question. You guys know I'm a high school math teacher. So I could teach you like calculus. Well, okay, that's a bit generous. I haven't done that in a while, but I could teach I could teach grade 12 math. I wrote 2 kids' books for Scholastic, and it was the hardest thing. I was like, I have no idea actually how to use a protractor, or like to explain why a decimal works. I was like, I don't, like, you put the dot in, like, I don't, like, it's actually, so just to be like, it's
pi? Just pi.
Just
pi.
It's you, like, because we don't learn why. So it's like, it actually was hard. Like, I was like, this is grade 3 math. And I was like, I will not tutor below grade 9 math because I actually find it very challenging. So like, I just want to also be like, it doesn't mean like we're dumb or something because we can't do something a grade 4 is learning. It actually is quite challenging in a completely different way of thinking, because a lot of that stuff we just like do. Like, you go to buy a pizza and you're like, I don't know, like cut it into quarters, and you know what you actually mean. Like, you know what you mean.
Yeah. And also numbers don't belong in math. There's no numbers in math. but there is.
Can you please explain that statement?
Sorry, there's no letters.
Okay.
There's no letters that belong in that.
It's like, pardon? I was like, wow, that's really...
There's no letters that belong in math. Letters don't belong in math.
Well, yeah,
Numbers belong in math.
we're going to have to agree to disagree on that one, but that's okay. That's fine.
Do you know the letters represent like things? Like is Y an example for like a car? Like all those letters represent things.
Just put a picture of a car.
Oh God, write a little visual of a real thing.
Yeah, I feel like that would challenge the people who like feel like they have like art anxiety to have to draw a car instead of the letter Y.
A stick figure.
Yeah. It's for sure something to think about.
I like your open-mindedness. I'm going to listen to that feedback. I'm never going to apply it.
You know what? I used to, when I taught algebra to kids, instead of X and Y, I would use hearts and stars. And some of them just liked it so much better. Like I'd be like,
what?
Because you're like, you get all caught up on the fact that it's an X. And again, no one has explained it to you. Like if I explained it to you, like I actually feel like you'd be like,
but X and Y look too much alike too. It should not be X and Y.
That's a really hot take.
They look really similar on paper, and it's when you do two different symbols, they look very different. Much easier to remember. I would mix up X and Y no matter what because they look alike. They're like the same family.
Star makes. I mean, I can imagine people would like that.
Heart and a star.
Remember, X and Y are black in my brain. Heart and a star are color. So you know what I mean.
I do know what you mean.
Different shapes.
It changed. I agree. Again, it just makes things interesting. It spices things up. Like you need something to, and then it's not that hard to draw a heart.
And then get kids who are like neurodiverse and they see like or process differently. X and Y are the exact same thing.
My God, I feel like we're ready. I mean, even the grade 12 teachers are going to have something to take away from here from someone who professes to not know anything about math, but is really getting into the algebra of how it should be taught and neurodiverse students. Okay. I have a question just to move on from this very algebraic conversation we're having, which I did not expect to get into, but I'm excited about. Your community is a community of moms, right? Like that's primarily. Do you guys talk about this stuff? Do you talk about math?
Math? No, it's usually, if we're talking about math, it's usually with frustration. And then people
It's
are
homework.
crying.
It's homework.
It's homework.
Okay.
And we're never having a positive, fun conversation about math with our community.
You know, one of our kids' schools gives time in each
This
class.
conversation is insane. Sorry, go on.
One of our kids' schools gives time in each class to do the work, right?
yeah.
So there are 4 classes in a day, and it's like an hour and a half or whatever, and they have like 40 minutes to do their work. Genius. Genius. Because the teacher's there.
Yeah.
If you are self-driven, you can get it done. Some don't. But if you learn that self-regulation skill, you can I need help with this. Put office hours in the times that they're in school rather than all of these other times because there is no time. As parents, you have so much to worry about. Your kids have to be well-rounded, do extracurricular, do sports so they don't get addicted to drugs, then go and then have friends, then get a job, then, it's you're worried they're going to get pregnant behind the Circle K at the corner store if they're not doing other things.
Right.
That's the messaging we get.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So we're like, sit down, slam your homework in your mouth. Oh, and have great mental health, but also look amazing. Then have a big group of friends, go do the things on the weekend, get straight A's. Cause you know what? You're not getting in if you don't get a 99 because, our hundreds aren't getting them these days, and keep your GPA up all school. Cause they're looking back to grade 9 for your grades. The whole thing is ludicrous. So I think that math is part of a frustration of parents trying to juggle their kids' overall mental health and balance in life that doesn't exist. And it falls on us to make things go right when there's just not time to make things. And then, tutoring's hard because you're paying extra. You're trying to find the time for them to get to class to go do it. It's winter. It's snowing. They're freezing. And you're like, go do another hour of math at 8 o'clock at night.
Oh, God. It just sounds really overwhelming.
I'm so stressed out.
Yes, but that's what we deal with.
Well, and I'm also thinking math pales in comparison to the potential of getting pregnant behind the Circle K. Who the fuck cares?
I know.
It's the least of your concerns.
You got to keep them busy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's you don't have time to worry about their math identity.
The other thing I find confusing was my daughter was in, I guess it was a grade 10 math. And she walked out with like a really bad, like just a pass.
Yeah.
When she walked out of grade 10 without the building blocks, I was very worried about her grade 11 math. So I decided that if she was at a school where her math class was 3 people and she was walking out with a very low mark, in order to pass this grade 11, I wasn't even too worried about how well she did. I'm not going to leave her to a class of 30, which is she went from a class of 3 where she got 50 to a class of 30. I'm going to take it in my own hands, and I am going to get somebody to take the information that she learns at school and teach it to her the way that she learns. And that's what she did at Math Guru. She met with a girl who she really connected with, and she met with her 2 days a week. And that girl somehow, Taylor's just like, I don't understand how all of a sudden I understand it. I think it's her, but I don't know if the content was different. I couldn't believe that she ended up getting an A, but I didn't even know how she did. And I never looked at what she was learning. And I can't imagine that she went from having 50% of the knowledge to the next year understanding it.
I'm kind of hearing like there's just so much emotion around, really appropriate, I think, emotion around being like, it's actually really upsetting to think like my kid might just be a number to someone, and the only thing they care about is whether they achieve this benchmark that somebody has decided is like a good benchmark here. And we're not taking into account like what they're interested in, the fact that they might feel like they're struggling, the fact that they're working really hard. They should be rewarded and embraced for being like, wow, like, guess what? You got a 40 last week and today you got a 41. That's fucking awesome. You know, like...
Yeah. We're not built that way though. And our post-secondary is not built that way. And that they're numbers. They are numbers because that's what you apply with is numbers.
And you are the way how you talk about and think about math. And for the people, the teachers that will be listening to this, they're like you. I do think there are some teachers end up being, but I do think there are some, like these are the ones that care, like really care.
Yeah.
We have experienced ones that became teachers, like in any job, and they're just trying to get through. They don't, I mean, obviously they can't. Well,
it's a lot of work with very little resources. I don't underestimate that. I just think that, you know, it's like a systemic issue because we are dealing with numbers and we're trying to pump these kids through, and we have bell curves and we have, they feel the pressure. They get mixed messages because they're like, oh, it's what's holistic here. Nothing is. Like, it's such BS. And the kids know exactly what's going on. They know some kids, they all know the grades that are padded. They know, like, everybody, it's like this game we're all playing when everyone's like, oh, it's how hard you work. No, it's not, because the grades, you take your top 6 grades and apply with that. That's what you apply with. That's the end of the day. So, you know, I think that the pressure they know now of getting into university is not what any of us experienced. Like, it was not like this.
It was not like this.
So, and I don't think we can validate what they're feeling because we didn't live it.
Do you think if we like just imagine a world where there were no grades? Okay, this is very hard to do, but just like imagine, because actually like getting rid of grading is not happening, but there's a lot of experimenting with it happening. And like, you know, like in BC, for example, they're not giving grades until grade 9. Like, you don't get a mark on anything. Like, pretend there was no grading. And like somehow math class was just like, let's all like learn progress over product. Like, what way do you learn? Let's try teaching you this in a bajillion different ways. It's relevant. Like, do you think there would be some hope there? Like, what would be the thing that like would give us hope that maybe
I don't think you have to get rid of grades. I think you just have to wait how hard that child's working. There will be some kids whose whose input doesn't match their output, and they will always lose, right? Like, that's just the way life goes. But we have to validate that, you know, they're, like you said, if a teacher can take the time and be like, wow, I saw how hard you worked on this test, and I know the result maybe wasn't what you hoped for, but the skills you learn in getting there are going to take you so much further.
Yeah.
And I think that's on us as parents too, to let them know, like, the fact that you didn't give up when it was really hard is what I look for as an employer.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that what we all have to know is AI will decimate math in a lot of ways. And it's the way that you learn and how you are able to process or work hard or have relationships within math, right? So I think that those are all real conversations because those people will win. I think that we just have to, like, we're not learning for the future and we're not igniting their learning lights. And I think that that's what as parents we get frustrated with is we want their learning lights to stay strong because little kids are so inherently so excited to learn.
Yeah.
Like they want to learn so badly and they get so excited about learning new things.
And they can tell when their teacher has a passion or if their teacher is just reading from the book. Yeah. They can really feel that.
And I think we saw at some point we dim their light. And I think that everyone needs to look at why are their lights dimming. And I think teachers have, and parents, we have the power to like ignite it or dim it. And I think I think we dim it each year. They get more and more, we grind them for the sake of what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why we grind them so hard. So they become older people who just are stress cases going into it. Like, I will never it should be joyful,
Yeah. And I mean, just to like validate that whole thing, I mean, the reason school was started was because of the Industrial Revolution. The whole purpose of school was to build like skilled assembly line workers that could follow rules. Like that's what we needed at the time. And the craziest thing is it really hasn't changed that much. Right.
My mom said that. She's like, I'm 80 and they're doing the exact same thing. This is the only industry that hasn't changed. She's like, this is
crazy.
And the classrooms still look the same, smell the same.
I think this has been so good. This is such a triggering convo and I fucking love it because it's like math just has continually suffered from the worst fucking communications PR crisis of all time. There's no like the target market, like here you are and the kids, here's math education over here. There's no communication. So it's almost like, you know how you're saying it sucks that kids don't know what they're doing in math, so they don't like it. Now there's an additional layer of the parents don't know why the teachers are doing some of the things they're doing. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this endless like communication.
Teachers are squeezed to get in this amount before this thing. They're squeezed. I feel very badly for teachers too, because I think most go in with the right heart and so excited to teach, and they get squeezed out of it too, right?
You're right. Math has really bad PR.
The worst PR. Like the worst fucking PR.
And I feel like it's so true that a parent, like I can't explain to my kid why they're learning or why it's important. In reality, my understanding of it is what I really want to say is just get through this. You're going to use a calculator for the rest of your life. Like this isn't important. It's not relatable. Like that's what I feel like I would say to them. I'm not going to say that to them because I don't want to discourage them.
Say?
You just have to do it.
Yeah.
There was a moment where there was some really good PR about
what?
Girls in STEM.
Yep, there was. Yeah, we did have that.
Yeah. Oh, and now it's STEAM. Like it was big for a while. I remember it. I mean, I don't know.
And now boys are screwed. Like now we're screwing the boys. So I don't know anymore.
Okay. We're gonna have to. There's so much we could talk about here. We're gonna have to.
Well, you're talking to two moms with 7 children.
But I think.
I do want to say teachers. I am really thankful for teachers, and I think majority of them are, really doing their best with not a lot. And I do not underestimate that. And I'm not saying that this is on them at all.
No.
And I really do think that teachers are remarkable. And, I'm so thankful for them. I just think that they're doing the best they can. And don't communicate with them because there are crazy parents now. So you're not allowed to talk to them like you used to. So it is challenging with communication. And I am thankful for faculty and, all the people who do their best every day, because I can't imagine how hard it is for them and how much resources they put into these things for themselves and money they buy and extra time. And they do foster a lot of learning lights. It's just the system grinds everybody, including kids, including teachers.
I think that's so well said. And you said it earlier. And I think everyone would agree that it is a systemic issue, right? It's like teachers are like at the bottom being like, but a lot of what you said is so, I think we all need to hear. And I want to ask you guys before I get to the final like quick fire questions. The question I get from teachers all the time is, because, I talk to teachers about math anxiety and math trauma. So I'll be like, here's how you prevent it in your classroom. Here's how you help students heal. And they'll be like, but what do we do? Like, what do we do when the parents have math trauma or the parents hate math? Like, what can we do? And like, I know that's a kind of a broad question, but is there anything like for you two, since you're both like, well, math really isn't my thing. Is there something a teacher could do or say that would be helpful in terms of having to raise kids who need to do math for a chunk of time?
I think just acknowledging that, math is hard for some and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And your kid can still be successful even if they're not 100 in math. But together, let's do our best to support them and make it more bearable or more enjoyable, the process, so that they learn how to learn. Let's stop focusing on the number and let's help them understand that learning isn't always going to be perfect. But if we can encourage them to not shut down because they're just not good at it, that's a bigger lesson. And I think it's just acknowledging, like, it's okay. Like, let's all be okay that they're going to get through it. They have to get through it. So let's do the best we can to support them rather than squeezing a number out of them. Be like, how can I support you? And this is how you can support me. And, like, if we're struggling, let's think about ways to problem solve this. And here's how you can problem solve at home. Like, this is what I suggest.
And from a practical, just literally, if I were to say, like, how do you make this more entertaining or interesting, is before each lesson, try to give some sort of an example of how this would be important to either their brain, their decision-making, how they would apply this lesson in real life.
And maybe talk about ChatGPT, like how they can use it as a tutor. Like, that is a source some can have access to. And it really is great for kids who maybe are struggling, and, be okay with technology and how they can access it to support everybody in the house without condemning it. Because I think that that's another thing, an issue we're all dealing with, is kids are secretly using it now and trying to find ways to go around it. But when teachers talk about how to incorporate it, they're like, oh my God, that teacher taught me this skill and now I can apply it. And you can actually learn from practicing in a different way. So they can teach their kids how they learn. You're winning. If you can just open up, you like to write it down, you like to watch a video, like, get the parents to help with that.
Okay, I'm about to do the final two questions, but I want to know if you guys ever thought you'd be on a math podcast. Like, are you excited?
No, but I mean, you're not like, I'm not doing math. You know what I mean?
We did a little.
And you are literally the opposite of what I would think, like, I think every person who's interested in math would be like.
And I think every person who took math from you would probably like math.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
So I think that you're an anomaly.
Yeah.
I'd like to meet more like you.
I can't wait to teach you algebra one day with the X's and Y's and the emojis. We're going to have so much fun, Kat.
In color. In color.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys each one question. This is the final two questions I ask everyone. You're each getting one. Okay, so the first one, you guys can pick. First question is, and we've kind of touched about this, but let's say you can only choose one thing you want to change about the way math is taught in schools. What's it going to be?
What's the second one?
The second one, I feel like that you just did a little math there, to be honest. Like, by even just being like, I need to know this.
I reasoned.
You fucking reasoned, girl. Okay, the second one is, if someone was like, I feel this is a weird question to ask you because I kind of like, but okay. But if someone said, hey, listen, I'm just not a math person. It's not my thing. I can't learn it. What would you say?
Oh, it's choice. You're choosing not to right now. You're choosing not to learn, and that's okay. But, you have to look at where you want to go with math and look at your.
Is it an adult or a kid?
I did not think this was going to be your answer.
So if my friend was like, I'm just not a math person, I'd be like, who fucking cares? Me?
I think you have to work backwards. I always say to my kids, if you want this result, but you're doing this, then that doesn't match up. So what do you want? If you want this, then you got to go for this. If you don't want it, then don't be worried about it. But if you want to go and be a math teacher, you need math. So you need to get a higher mark.
Yeah. And I think the only thing that I'd like to see changed is just to help them understand the practicality of learning and doing math.
And put some colors in there and some emojis. No, I'm not joking. Make it a little more interesting for the people who learn differently.
No, what I'm laughing at is that I said you each get to pick one. And instead, you tricked me into giving you both. And then you both answered both of them.
Yeah. So we multiplied by a bunch and got we had a sum number of 4 instead of 2.
I mean, we've now done math for, I'd say, at least 5% of this interview. Okay, we're going to close up here. Where can everyone find you? Cat and Nat on
at Cat and Nat everywhere. Everywhere they have it, it's Cat and Nat. Our podcast is Cat and Nat Unfiltered. We have catandnat.com. Just everything, everywhere.
Cat and Nat.
This was a really important talk. I think it was insane, but it was important. We might all get canceled. That's okay.
In the math world, I'm not worried.
Well, that is where my career lies, but yeah, no problem. I can't believe I'm going to interview your daughter tomorrow. Now, this is like a whole other layer.
Well, she has a lot of it's been a journey for her. And so she's got a lot to say. And she also has, really appreciated you giving her like other ways to think about it.
Well, we'll see. Okay, guys, we're going to say goodbye, but don't hang up quite yet. I hate this part. How do you guys say bye on your podcast? Like, what's the end?
See ya. We just hang up on you. Thanks for coming. Bye.
There we go. It's done. We're done. Okay, we're done. Okay, I don't know what to say after that roller coaster. Like, I'm still kind of speechless. And as you know, that is not normal for me. I'll be honest, like, it was such a challenging conversation for me because the whole time I was torn between validating their feelings as parents while defending teachers who have to work in a broken system. And the reality is that it's all true, right? Two things can be true. And I also felt like my role was sort of to listen. Like, I wanted to, like, not argue, but I kind of wanted to debate and like defend and be like, but this is why we do this. And I sort of realized a few minutes in, my role right now is to actually listen to their feelings. And that is the approach I always champion in math class with our own students. Our role is not to defend, it's to listen to our students' feelings, to make sure they feel seen and heard. That's often the first step to like solving the problem and changing their relationship with math. I'm so glad we did this episode because teachers and parents are partners in raising these kids, and everyone benefits if we all understand each other's perspective better. So I want to put the ball in your court. And I realize that now all of a sudden I'm a sports metaphor person, I guess. But okay, I want to know, what did this episode bring up for you? What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? And I also just had a thought, like, do schools need to do more parent education around this? Like, I know we do a lot of parent education around content and how we're teaching math, but do we need to have more parent nights around what Nat and Cat brought up? So for this week's math therapy homework, I'm thinking I want you to put yourself in their shoes. If someone says, we should just be teaching math the old way, or whatever, I was never good at math, it's boring, I hate it. Instead of being mad about it and getting defensive, which I am very guilty of doing, ask them why they feel that way. And like, see if you can empathize and then respond from that place. And I want to know what happened. So remember, you can text the podcast by hitting the link in your show notes. You can DM me at The Math Guru, or you can email me at vanessa@themathguru.ca. I really want to hear from you. I know there was a lot in this episode, and I'm so curious what you're thinking and feeling. And if you've made it this far, first of all, thank you. You rock. But more importantly, you are in for a treat because on next week's episode, I'll be talking with Nat's daughter, Taylor. She was so honest about what high school is really like and was the perfect complement to this week's episode. So make sure you and everyone you know and love are subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss it. And again, just as a little reminder, Math Therapy is hosted by me, Vanessa Vicaria. It is produced and edited by the amazing David Kochberg. And the music you're hearing is by our band, Goodnight Sunrise.
Bye.
Oh, bye, yeah.
No, I'm saying you're saying how do you guys say bye? We're like, okay, where can everybody find you? Okay, great. Bye. Bye.
And then you don't hang up.
And then we hang up.
See, I think it's different because they hang up. And if I was going to hang up on them, it would be more natural to say bye. But I know I'm not hanging up.
Why aren't you hanging up?
Because we have to like why are we hanging up?
You said don't hang up.
Because we have to make sure like, I don't know, don't you have to like make sure it uploads or something? We have to take a selfie. Like, I think that maybe.
Okay.
Oh, we don't do any of that.